Hi, this is Sue Reynolds with the American Student Achievement Institute. You have accessed this video through one of our monthly updates, either the monthly update for Guiding All Kids or the monthly update for Redesigning School Counseling. The purpose of this video is to walk through the preparation that you need to do prior to your next steering team workshop. And specifically, we're going to look at these 3 steps. So let's just begin. First task is to enter your current delivery methods. So I'm going to click on that link in the memo. And on this page, you're asked to just check which delivery methods you are currently using. So I can go to 1718 and click the counselor delivery method. If you have community organizations that are also helping to deliver your school counseling program, you can click the community delivery for guidance if those organizations are doing teaching type activities like teaching kids about careers or teaching kids about post-secondary options, helping you maybe with a job shadowing experience, things like that. If there's a community organization that has licensed mental health professionals, like a licensed school counselor, a licensed counselor, a licensed social worker, or a licensed psychologist, and that organization is coming into your school to help deliver the counseling part of your program, then you could also click the counseling box there. Some of you have teacher advisor programs. If so, you check that one. Some of you have already integrated your school counseling program into the academic curriculum. So your 3rd grade teachers maybe are implementing a career development component. Or your health teachers are already implementing social emotional guidance lessons. So if that's the case, click that. And then if you have as part of your program situations where you've provided guidance lessons for parents and parents are implementing those guidance lessons with their children, then you'd want to check that as well. But I believe for most of you, you would be checking for this school year 17 and 18, the counseling delivery method, and for some of you, maybe the community delivery for your guidance activities. Okay, the other box down here is for things like maybe you have a peer helpers program where students are providing guidance for other students, or maybe you have a program where your coaches will do academic guidance with their athletes. So you have a box down here for other in case there's other delivery methods that are in your school. So after you've clicked those things for the current year, then go ahead and click Save, and then that step is finished. So pretty quick on that step. I'm going to go back to the memo. This time I'm going to go to the 2nd step, enter your current partners. So I'm going to go and click on that. And on this step, I've already entered a couple of partners just because I wanted you to see how that would appear. I'm just going to go ahead and add one more so you can see how simple this is. And let's say the group you're going to enter is your PTA. The contact name is Sally Green. Her phone number is, we'll just enter that in. Her email address is. And then we want to identify the primary delivery method that the PTA is going to be involved in. And the PTA, they're not licensed in a mental health and helping profession, so we're not going to do counseling, of course, for them. But they are maybe going to help deliver some guidance activities with your students. So as volunteers, they're going to come into your school, maybe meet with 3rd graders and do some career development with them or something like that. So I'm going to put them as community delivery guidance. They are not licensed counselors, social workers, psychs, or psychiatrists, so the answer to that question is no. And then I'm just going to hit Save. So, and then that adds them to the list of partners. So, so we want to make sure that you get all of your partners in, because later when we enter your activities, we'll want to say who is delivering that activity, and so we want, you know, the partners to be listed so we can choose from them. Okay, I'm going to go back to the email, to the memo, and let's go down to that third step. And on this step, we're going to enter your current activities. Again, we're entering just the current activities. So in this step, you have, you'll begin by entering your program activities. And you'll see we also have given you an option of adding activities that you're not currently doing, but you want to consider doing in the future. So if you want to put an activity on the parking lot, that would be okay. These are activities that you're not currently doing, but you want to remember as a possibility, as a future activity. And then we're entering a program activity that you're currently doing. So right now we're not going to enter anything that's planned for next year, just the things that you're currently doing. So I'll hit the enter icon. Before I do that, as you add activities, they're going to appear in this section on this page. So underneath this title activity, each of the activities that you enter will appear here, and then you can edit or delete an activity from this section. When you enter parking lot activities, the titles for those activities will start to appear underneath this title, and then you can edit and delete your parking lot activities from this section as well. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and enter a current activity. And I'm just checking here, yes, it's active. This is an active activity. So I'll put in the activity as, let's say, a career interest inventory. And then the description, on my description, I want to make that very brief and descriptive. So I'm just going to tell, first of all, who's involved. So fifth graders will take a career interest inventory. And then another thing that you might put in here is a little bit of the logistics, I'm going to say during activity period. So I've got the who's going to participate, who's involved, I've got what they're going to be doing, and then a little bit about the logistics, when it's going to happen. So again, we want both of these to be brief, the title and the description, we want both of them to be brief, but very descriptive. I think for everybody listening to this video, as soon as I put that title in, Career Interest Inventory, you had a sense of what we were doing in this activity. And then the description, you had a little bit more sense. Okay, it's for fifth graders and it's going to happen during activity period. I get it. Okay, on activity type, we've listed our different types of school counseling activities: guidance, counseling, advocacy, management, non-program. And you see that we've taken guidance and divided it into the three different types of guidance that we do as students. So academic, career, and personal, social, or social emotional. I'm going to go ahead and click career because this is definitely a career guidance activity. And then the next question is asking me, why am I doing this activity? It may be that the only reason I'm doing this activity is because somebody outside of my school says I have to. If that's the case, you're going to click Meet an External Requirement, and the computer will ask you, are you doing this for Gold Star? Is this a district requirement? And or is it for some other external requirement? So if you click here that this is a district requirement, that means the only reason you are doing this activity is because the district has asked you to. It does not align with any of your priority goals, your own school's priority goals. But you have to do it because the district has asked you to. So in this place in our system, it enables you to say, I'm only doing this because somebody outside my school has asked me to do it. And in this case, it's the district. Or for some of you, it might be that you're meeting a requirement for Gold Star. Okay, So if more likely you're doing the activity to meet one of your own school's priority goals. So I'm going to click here on the priority goals, and now the priority goals that you have previously entered into the system will appear here. So if this is an activity that's going to impact all of the goals, like we're working on some social emotional issue that's really going to impact everything, then you can click this is a counseling activity that's going to impact all of the priority goals. But in this case, in our career interest inventory, it's not going to impact all the goals. So I'm going to look to find the priority goals that align with the career interest inventory. So there's a couple of ways to do that. You can either just kind of scroll up and down and look, or a faster way to do it that I like to use is if I hit Control F, that brings up a search window. It might be somewhere else on your screen. On my screen, it always appears at the top. And I'm just going to write the word in here, interest, for career interest inventory. And I see I get a couple of hits. I'm going to then hit the enter button and then start to look for where it appears in this list of priority goals. So the priority goal is take a written or online career interest inventory. Bingo, this activity is going to address that goal. So I've clicked that. That's all you have to do. I come back to the main screen, and you can see that in that section, it's now telling me that I'm doing this activity to meet one of my school's priority goals, and the goal is to take a written or online career interest inventory. And if there's more than one priority goal that activity is met, that's fine. You can check off as many priority goals as you want to. And of course, there are some activities that would be more broad in nature that might, be able to tick off 4, 5, 8 of your priority goals. And that's fine. Okay, going on in, one other thing is if you go to click a priority goal, and you come in here and you're going through and you're thinking, oh my gosh, there's none of these priority goals that align with this activity. Then one of two things may be happening. It may be, and this is kind of a key idea, it may be that you have forgotten a goal and you really are doing that activity because it aligns with the goal, but you forgot to put that priority goal in. So you can go back to the goals section, enter that priority goal, and then come back here and you'll be able to align that activity then with the priority goal that you had previously forgot to put in. Another situation might be that there's not a goal there because that activity doesn't really align with any of your goals. And then the question is, why are you doing that activity? So, that's something to think about too. Maybe, we want to discontinue that activity. If that's the case and you're not able to align the activity with any of your goals because there is no goal that aligns with activity, I would then, just so we can get that activity in, put it in as a to meet external requirement. And when that list pops up, just do other external requirement, and then you hopefully will remember later that that's an activity that you don't know why you're doing it. It doesn't really align with any of your goals. Okay, I'm going to leave it then on this one that we're meeting the school's priority goals. So now on the next one, we want to align the activity with the knowledge that you said you wanted kids to learn. So if you remember, in a previous step, once you identified this as a priority goal, then we asked you, well, what knowledge do kids need to have in order to make that choice? So when I click on Select Knowledge Statements, the knowledge statements that you put in the system for this priority goal, for your priority goal and your knowledge statements, the knowledge statements that you entered in will appear. And so now I need to think, okay, when I'm doing this activity with the 5th graders, are they going to learn what a career interest inventory is? Yes. Are they going to learn where to find one? Yes. Are they going to learn how to complete one? Yes. And are they going to learn how to interpret their results? Yes. So, so we've got all of those knowledge statements checked. If let's say it was not going to help kids learn how to interpret their results, then you'd want to leave that one blank. And then that would clue you in later as we start to plan next year that we need an activity that's going to do that, or we need to tweak this activity in order to do that. So, okay, so I'm just going to say yes, this activity is going to teach kids all of that knowledge. Okay, so I've got the knowledge statements in this section. When you open this up, this gives you all of the student opportunities that were in the self-study that you did right at the beginning of your RSC or your Guiding All Kids initiative. So again, I think I remember that one of these opportunities in the self-study was a career interest inventory. So again, I'm just going to do my Control F. I'm going to type in the word interest, and let's see what pops up. So immediately it goes to take a career interest inventory. I can go ahead and check that one because obviously we're going to give the kids that opportunity. And as I look through this, I'm checking to see, did it pop up any other times? No. So that's it. So I align that one. So, and you can see that as you're entering these things, they start to appear. So the opportunity that this aligns with is the career interest inventory. In the next section, if you're an Indiana school and you're interested in the Indiana Gold Star Award, then we need to make sure that your program is aligning with all of the competency indicators published by the Department of Education. So when I open this, I get a lot of indicators. And just to remember that the department has a lot of indicators for each competency. Often when you put in one activity, you will be able to select all of the indicators that go with the related competency. So when you first see this, don't panic that there's a million indicators here, because each of your activities will be able to check off several of these indicators. Okay, so once again, I guess one other thing to explain, on these codes that we've put in here for each of the indicators, the first letter tells you if this is an academic development indicator, a career development indicator, or a social emotional indicator. So you can see the social emotional ones start with S, the career ones start with C. So, and then also, then we give you the grade level. So these are indicators for grades K5. If your school does not include all of K5, you may not be addressing all of these indicators, but then you would need to be able to say, we didn't address these specific ones because we only have grades 4 or 5, and we've talked to our schools that offer grades K3, and these other indicators are going to happen at a younger level. So, okay, and then finally, the next number after the second dot here, this is the competency number, and then this is the indicator number. So you can see that, you know, for the very first competency, there's maybe a dozen indicators here that go with this one competency. So, okay, to help me find the indicators that would align with my activity, I'm going to again do a Control F. I'm going to again type the word in interest. And then each time the word interest pops up, I'm just going to give it a quick read. This first one does not really align with the career interest inventory activity that I'm doing. I'm going to scroll down. Second one completes a career interest assessment to identify career interests. Check, got that one. And then I'm just going to continue reading through these and check off as many as I can that solidly align with the activity that I've put in place. If your current activity does not align with a lot of these indicators, that's okay, because we're planning next year's program, and as we do that planning, we'll be able to pull in other indicators into the program that we're developing for next year. On the other hand, some of you are going to find that almost all of these indicators you're doing right now. And so when we go to plan your activities for next year, we're really going to have to do very little change. So, okay, so we've got that. And then in the next section here on this activity, we're looking at the guidance gaps. So in this section, we're asking, are you going to, or are you currently tweaking this activity in any way so that it captures a group of students that may be having a guidance gap at a greater rate than other students, than their peers. So let's say in the survey, for example, you were looking through all the survey data, and on the question in the survey about career interest inventory, you noticed that your non-Hispanic students were completing a career interest inventory at a greater rate than your Hispanic students. And because of that, you developed some promotional materials for the career interest inventory that were in Spanish, so that as you're engaging all students in this, you might engage your Hispanic students in a different way by honoring the fact that English may not be their most natural language. Comfortable language. So you've done something to close a gap with your Hispanic kids on this one. So, so I'm going to click Hispanic because I purposefully did something to engage the Hispanic students at a different rate. Okay, so I've got that. What grade levels? 5th grade. And then what is the year and month of implementation? We're looking at our current activities. So we're going to go in and let's say this is an activity we currently do in November. So I just click November. You can click more than 1 month, and then there's, you know, all or none. So, and again, but we're just looking at your current activities. Then your delivery method, there's only 2 delivery methods that appear here, and that's because in that first step that we talked about, I told the computer that in my current program, I was only using 2 delivery methods. So if you're thinking, oh, I do this in teacher advisor program and it's not here, then you need to go back and correct what you put in earlier to indicate that you're currently doing a teacher advisor program. So in my program, this is one that the counselors are going to implement. So I'm doing that. But notice what happens is if this were one that the community was implementing, then my next question is going to say, okay, which community group is doing this? But it's just a counselor activity, so I'm not getting that choice. And then who's responsible in this section? Your steering team members will appear here, but if there's a counselor that's not on your steering team, you'll need to put that person's name in and then save at the end, and then you're finished. So, okay. So talking through this is a little bit lengthy as we explain each of the sections. People have told us that once they start doing this and then the form becomes familiar, that they just whip this out really quickly. And of course, we want to make sure that we're including all of the activities that your counselors do. So this isn't just one counselor. It's not just the counselor on the steering team. It's all of your counselors collectively in your building. What are all of the activities that they provide for students? Okay, so I think we're good here. Very good. So that's it. And as always, make sure that you contact us if you have questions. There's contact information down at the bottom for reaching Debbie and Janet. So, okay, thanks everyone, and please do call us if you have questions. Thanks.